Hello everyone, welcome to Enviro Pioneers. In this video, we are going to discuss about different types of platform that are used in remote sensing for the acquisition of data. Platform, it refers to the stage where the sensor or the camera are mounted to acquire the information about a target under investigation. According to Lillesand and Kiefer, a platform is a vehicle from which a sensor can be operated, and based on its altitude above the Earth's surface, these platforms may be classified into ground-based platform, airborne platform, or spaceborne platform. These ground-based platforms are the vehicles that operate on the Earth's surface. Airborne platforms are those which operate somewhere in the atmosphere, and spaceborne are the vehicles that operate in the space. As discussed in the last video, as the height of the platform increases, the total field of view increases and the total area that is covered by a sensor on the Earth's surface, that also increases. But by increasing the height, there is decrease in the spatial resolution, and that depends upon the instantaneous field of view. But depending upon how much information is required and what type of data we want to collect, we can select the platform accordingly. Ground-based platforms are also referred as the terrestrial platforms. These may be either static or dynamic depending upon whether the platform is stationary or a moving vehicle. These platforms are used for the close range and the high accuracy applications. Within the ground-based platforms, we can have different category like the short-range sensor, which is used mainly for the mapping of buildings and the small objects. Then we have the medium-range sensors, which provide us with the millimeter accuracy, and it is mainly utilized for the three-dimensional modeling application. Then we have the long-range sensors, which are mainly used for the topographic applications. Some of the popular ground-based platforms are the handheld gadgets, tripods, towers, and the cranes. Here we have some of the images related to handheld gadgets, and these provide us the facility to acquire the data from a particular area. Then the tripod stands or the unmanned ground vehicles can also be utilized for mounting the sensors. Images collected using the ground-based sensors, they provide much greater spatial resolution in comparison to those collected from the aircraft or the satellites. And the data which is collected using the ground-based sensors, it is mainly either for the local or small scale studies, or it is utilized for the calibration and the validation of the airborne or satellite sensor, or it can be used for the development of the new sensors. Then for the field investigation, some of the most popular platforms are cherry picker platforms, portable mast, and the towers. Here we have the images of the cherry picker platforms, which can be extended up to the height of 15 meter, and these are utilized by the laboratories to carry the spectral reflectance meter or the photographic system. Then we have the portable mast, which are available in different forms, and they can be carried to the field of investigation, and the sensors or the cameras can be placed on these. But the problem associated with the mast is related to their stability, mainly in the windy condition. Then there may be some permanent ground platforms like the towers and the cranes, which can be utilized for monitoring the atmospheric phenomena or for the long-term monitoring of the terrestrial features. So here we have some of the images for representation of the towers. And then if we want to have the monitoring for the forest area, then towers can be built on the site, and it should be tall enough so that it is projecting through the forest canopy, and range of measurements can be taken from the forest floor, then through the canopy and above the canopy. And here we have one example related to the crane, and here we have this active and passive microwave remote sensing system, which is used in the field experiment. The images have been taken from this particular site, and we can see that for a particular agriculture field, the sensors are placed so that the data can be acquired for the crops. And here we have the close-up of the passive microwave radiometer and the instruments which are placed in this. So we can see here that photographic camera is there, hyperspectral spectroradiometer is there, which can acquire the data within the 512 bands, ranging from the wavelength 350 to 1050 nanometer. So within this range, this instrument is capable of getting the data in 512 bands. Then we have the thermal infrared probe, the video camera is there, then we have the C-band radiometer related to the radar sensing, and then S-band radiometer, L-band radiometer. So different instruments can be placed on this particular platform and different type of data can be acquired. Then next is the airborne platform. In comparison to the ground-based sensors, these platforms have the mobilization flexibility and they are capable of recording the data over a large spatial area. These airborne platforms include balloons, aircraft, helicopters, and drones, which is also referred as the unmanned aerial vehicle or UAVs. And these are flexible and can operate at various altitude, offering the high spatial resolution and the ability to cover a specific region of interest. Let us see these aerial platforms one by one. So first one here is balloon. Balloons are the platform which are not very expensive like the aircraft, and they have different shapes, size and different performance capabilities. There are mainly three type of balloon system: free balloons, tethered balloons and the powered balloons. Free balloons, it can reach up to the top of the atmosphere and they provide a platform at intermediate altitude between the aircraft and the spacecraft. And then free floating and the anchored balloon, that is the tethered balloon, they have the altitude range of 22 to 40 kilometer and it can be used to a limited extent as a platform. And these balloons, they are mainly used for probing the atmosphere or are also useful to test the instrument under the development. Here we have some of the images related to balloons as the platform. Here we can see radar, retroreflector, then we have the recovery parachute, tracking system, and then science payload. In this image, we can see a schematic diagram of the sensor system which is placed in the payload cabin. Here we have the temperature sensor system, GPS and the IMU sensor system. So this IMU, it is related to the inertial measurement unit which gives us the data related to the movement of the platform. Then we have the current sensor system, and then you can see here that we having the different type of sensors placed. It can be camera or it can be sensor. So here it is mentioned camera sensor 1, camera sensor 2. So complete sensor system is placed in the payload cabin, and as the this balloon it moves, it acquires the data from the ground. Here is another image. We can see here we have the solar panels and the payload cabin, and this is attached to the balloon. As this balloon will be covering a particular distance along with the wind, it will acquire the data from that particular area. Tethered balloon are the balloons which are attached to the ground or the vehicles with the help of a cable, and the height of these balloons can be adjusted as per the requirement. So depending upon the type of sensor system which is attached to this balloon, it can give us the information about a particular area, or if these vehicles are moving, the information can be collected for a particular stretch. Here we have an example where tethered balloon is utilized to collect the atmospheric data. So this is a tethered balloon which is attached in the polar area, and here we have three different sensor systems placed at different altitude. Here we have this extended meteorology package, then we have the ultrasonic animator package, and then third is the cubic aerosol measurement platform. If we maintain the height of this tethered balloon, we will get the data of different parameters at various altitude. Then this image is of the stratolite, which is long duration navigable and persistent high altitude flight, which consists of primary lift balloon and the secondary balloons. And this primary lift balloon, it provides the initial and sustained lift up to the 7,500 feet. And then we have the secondary balloons, which allow for the significant altitude changes in the stratosphere to capture the wind for navigation and the station keeping. Then here we have the solar panel ladder, which provide sustained power for the vehicle and the payload. Then last is the stratocraft, which is the aluminium and composite structure having the avionics, hardware and the payloads. These were some of the images showing the balloons as the platforms. Then next is the unmanned aerial vehicle, which is popularly known as the drone, and it is an airborne system or an aircraft which is operated remotely by a human operator or autonomously by an onboard computer. This unmanned aerial vehicle combined with the remote sensing technology is very helpful to acquire the geospatial data on the land resources and the environment. The imagery obtained from these drones can be utilized in many applications ranging from the large scale mapping to urban modeling and to vegetation structure mapping. Here we have four examples. This is for the agricultural land. These two are examples for the forest survey, and this is for the mining area. Based on the wings and the rotors, the unmanned aerial vehicles can be classified into these six types. We have the fixed wing rotor, then single rotor, then here we have the fixed wing hybrid VTOL, quadcopter, 4, hexacopter and the tricopter. So based on wings and the rotors, these drones can be classified into these categories. In this image, we have the representation of different units which can be associated with a particular drone. So here we can see this is the unmanned aerial vehicle which is controlled with the help of the ground control system. Here we have the remote sensing sensors, camera mount is there, battery is there, flight control system is there, and then we have the GPS or the IMU module. So IMU is the inertial measurement unit, which is a sensor that track the acceleration and the angular velocity of the platform over a period of time. And these drones, it include the equipment for the photography, infrared detection, radar observation and the TV surveillance. And they utilize the satellite communication link. An onboard computer is there to control the payload and store the data from the different sensors and the instrument. Apart from drone, we also have the unmanned aerial system, which is in the form of the aircraft. And this Global Hawk Pacific Mission campaign was the first NASA Earth Science campaign to be conducted on the aircraft. And within this aircraft, 10 instruments were installed to support measurement of the trace gases, aerosols, and the dynamics of the upper atmosphere and the lower stratosphere. In all unmanned aerial system, the payloads which are having the lighter weight and which deliver the images in the visible and the near infrared spectral ranges are preferred. Next is aircraft within the aerial platform. Within this, helicopters or the aircrafts can be used. Helicopters are occasionally used for the particular location, but they are not preferred because due to their vibration, they lack the stability. Then there are two type of aircraft. One is the low altitude aircraft and the other one is high altitude aircraft. So low altitude aircrafts, they are most widely used and they operate below 30,000 feet. They have single engine or light twin engine and they are suitable for obtaining the image data for smaller areas having the large scale. Then high altitude aircraft, they are stable and they operate above 30,000 feet. And these include jet aircraft which have the good rate of climb, the maximum speed and high operating ceiling. So good rate of climb, it refers to the speed at which the aircraft it gains the maximum altitude in a given horizontal distance. And the high operating ceiling, it represents the highest altitude at which the aircraft can sustain the level flight. And these high altitude aircraft, they acquire the images for the larger area, but here we have the lesser spatial resolution. So aircraft, these provide the variables such as the altitude, and the time of coverage can also be controlled, but these aircrafts are little expensive and less stable than the spacecraft and has the motion blurring. Here we have some of the images related to the air platform. This is helicopter having some sensors like thermal camera, NIR camera, visual camera, GNC system and the image capture computer. Here this image shows that this much area is covered on the ground surface, and when this aircraft is moved in a certain direction, the data from a particular track can be acquired. This image, it shows the aircraft mounted air quality sensors which is associated with the aircraft, and these measures the aerosol, carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide and other greenhouse gases. This image, it represents the flying laboratory of imaging system. Means within a particular platform, we can have the different instrument to gather the data within different spectral ranges. Here in this platform, we have the visible near infrared and the shortwave IR imaging spectroscopy, which provide us the data within the visible and near infrared, shortwave infrared, and then we have the thermal imaging spectroscopy, which provide the data in the emissivity range. And then laser scanning is there, which provide us the digital elevation model of particular terrain. And these data can be utilized for different applications. And last is spaceborne platform, where the sensors are mounted on the spacecraft, which include space shuttle or satellite, which are orbiting around the Earth. And the acquisition of data using the spaceborne platforms, it may ranges from the altitude of 250 km to 36,000 km. Using spaceborne platforms provide certain advantage like the large area coverage, frequent and repetitive coverage of the area of interest, quantitative measurement of ground features using the radiometrically calibrated sensors, and within the platform we are having the semi-automated computerized processing and analysis. And if we calculate the cost per unit area of coverage, it is comparatively lesser in comparison to the aerial platforms. Spaceborne platforms are either of the shorter duration, such as space shuttle, which remain in space for 1 or 2 weeks, or it can be of longer duration, such as the Earth resource monitoring and the meteorological satellites, which revolve around the Earth in a particular orbit. So at present, there are several remote sensing satellites which are providing us the imagery for a variety of applications. Depending upon the type of sensors which are placed on this platform and what type of data is needed from those sensors, these satellites are launched in different orbits. So in next video, we will continue from this part where we will discuss about the different types of orbit in which the satellites are launched and what is the importance of each of the orbit. And these are some of the references from where the content has been taken for this particular video. And we will meet soon in the next video related to the orbits of the spaceborne platform. Thank you.